uncertainty. My name is Tess Miller, and through my seminar and coaching business, Wings Unfolded, I help professionals who are ready to transition from the life they used to want to the life that they were made for. Transitions can be scary and challenging, especially when what used to make you happy just doesn't anymore. Sometimes we can feel stuck in the middle of a transition and not know what the next steps are that we want to take. And because we're constantly developing and growing in mind, body, and spirit, I believe that life is a constant series of transitions. My intention with these videos is to help people through their life transitions by sharing how I'm continuing to learn how to navigate my own. I offer insights, tips, ideas, and maybe even courage to get through the times in your life when you feel stuck so you can keep moving in the direction that serves your highest good. So, remember last week when I was all excited to start talking about all of the amazing ways that we can deal with our self-doubt? Well, over the course of the week, every time I would sit down and think about what I might want to share with you all, my mind would go completely blank. I'd feel my energy and motivation disappear, and I would choose to do anything else other than work on my message. So by the end of the week, I was really, really frustrated with myself. I found myself actually dreading doing the prep work for today's show. And what's strange is that normally I feel really excited to share my ideas. I wondered, what's wrong with me? Do I really have nothing to share with my audience at all? And I started to wonder if I'd lost the motivation and drive to even do these videos anymore. So I fought with myself for a while until my spouse suggested that I take this opportunity to share what I'm actually experiencing with you all, because after all, what I'm experiencing is a little moment of my own stuck. But in order to do that, I had to stop my wheels from spinning. And what I mean by my wheels is my mental wheels. My mental wheels have a tendency to spin whenever there's something I don't really want to face or experience in my life. I'll start to try and think my way out of it. More often than not, my thoughts have much going on. Oh, it looks like I got disconnected, but I think it's okay. Instead, it was time to acknowledge my current experience. Something that I hadn't been doing for myself for quite a while, I realized. So what I was really experiencing this past week was that I'm feeling really exhausted these days. And it's not just that I haven't been getting enough sleep, although that's, a constant issue, right? I realized that my energy has been drained for a lot of different reasons. Mostly because of what we're all experiencing in these times with the pandemic. I'm sure a lot of you have been feeling this way too. It's always an extra step. For example, when I have to leave my house and I have to think about whether or not I have enough hand sanitizer or enough masks, or what am I going to do if people aren't distanced, or how can I limit my time out in public. It's just all of that is an extra mental step, and it drains my energy. I'm also noticing that my energy is being drained by the uncertainty of so much still in our lives, not knowing how much of the change that we've experienced in the last year is going to stay changed, or whether or not it's going to go back to the way it was. Plus, I'm just not energetically used to being this busy anymore. For so long, there was so much time on my hands just to sit and think and meditate and choose to do what I wanted to do. And all of a sudden, I'm back to work, and everything about work is changed, and I'm just not used to being this busy. So anyway, Just as the transition to being in a lockdown situation was challenging, transitioning back to public life is presenting new difficulties for me as well. I can't really do my work in the same way I used to be able to do it, which requires an adjustment. And I am back to rigorous scheduling and planning ahead, which takes energy I'm not used to expending. There's less time overall to move from one activity to the next. The pace is faster, and I'm not used to any of that. So although I knew this transition was going to require a lot of effort and energy, I've been powering through, not acknowledging whatever was coming up for me emotionally. Apparently, I thought that just knowing that the transition would take effort would be enough for me to, just get through the experience, but it totally wasn't. Self-acknowledgement requires more than just thought. To really acknowledge myself, I needed to pause and reflect. For me, writing in my journal is a great way for me to do that, and so does talking to someone else. Hearing myself say out loud what my experience is can be so much more powerful than anything else that I do. I also realized that I need to up my self-care game, something that I actually talked about a couple videos ago. I've been finding ways in the last few days to take naps or do something that I really want to do for a few minutes rather than something that I need to do. I might do that in between some of my tasks or activities in the day. I've also been limiting my social media intake. Reading about other people's lives, while really fun, actually takes me out of my present moment experience. And same with reading the news or keeping up with the news. It's actually more fodder for distracting myself from my own experience. But most importantly, in order to self-acknowledge, I have to watch my thoughts. For example, if my thoughts get really mean-spirited, rather than allowing them to continue, I'll challenge them. I'll notice where the mean thoughts are coming from. Acknowledgement, in other words, requires action on our parts. We need to demonstrate to ourselves that we see what's going on and we support ourselves. You know what they say, actions speak louder than words, right? And that goes for action from ourselves, for ourselves. So once I shifted from ignoring or resisting my experiences, I went to acknowledging what was really going on. And once I did that, my energy shifted too. At first, I had a rush of feelings. I felt a lot of sadness, some grief, some confusion, and definitely all of my exhaustion. But now I'm feeling a lot lighter emotionally, physically, and mentally. My sleep the last couple of nights has been a lot better too. And sleeping is really helping with my exhaustion. I also realized that self-acknowledgement is actually the first step toward working with any self-doubt. Remember, I was feeling a lot of doubt about my abilities to create any kind of content for this week's show until I acknowledged what was actually draining my energy, which was going back out into public life. And once my energy could start to be fueled again, then I started to feel confident about talking today, about creating the content for today's video. So this week, I want to encourage you to engage in the practice of self-acknowledgement. But first, here are some questions that I want you to ask yourself. First, how might you be denying or resisting your current experience of these times? Second, what are you actually experiencing right now? And third, how might you benefit from practicing some acts of self-acknowledgement? So those are all questions to ponder. And then in terms of what you can do to really demonstrate that you acknowledge yourself, here are some ideas. First, you can write in a journal. You can do a journal entry on making a list of everything that you're experiencing, a list of your thoughts, a list of your feelings. And then read what you list out and validate each item. When you really see what you're experiencing, it's really easy then to see why you're feeling and thinking what you are. The second thing that you can do is ask yourself what you most need today, and then go do that. If you most need a nap, find a spot in your schedule and do it. If you need to go for a walk, go do it. If you need to find somebody to talk to, go ahead and do that too. And then the third thing that you can do is adjust your schedule in order to do those things. When we create that space in our schedules in order to do the things that we most need, that is such an acknowledgement that we can do for ourselves. That is a powerful action that you can take to acknowledge that this is something that you need and that you're important enough in your life to actually take that action. Finally, it's really important to allow your feelings to just be there without changing them. When we try to change our feelings, they actually get bigger. It's like telling yourself to try to not think about a black cat. All of a sudden, you can't think about anything else other than the black cat. Encouraging the feeling to be there actually makes it dissipate faster. Like, sometimes in my life I would announce, oh my gosh, I have to sneeze. And then someone would say, let me see, prove it. And then all of a sudden I wouldn't be able to sneeze. Feelings are the same way. When you say, I'm feeling sadness right now, and you focus on the feeling of sadness, you'll start to notice that it begins to soften. So find some time in your day to let yourself feel whatever it is that's coming up for you, and notice how those feelings soften and maybe even go away. One last thing about self-acknowledgement, it's really tempting to look to other people to tell us what we should or should not be experiencing in these times. It's a lot easier when you have someone else telling you what could help, like these videos, for example. But if you yourself don't even know what you need, how can anyone help you or support you? Getting clear on what you're actually going through is the first step in getting yourself unstuck from anything in life and on the path toward what you actually want in your life. So from me to you, I wish you all the best in acknowledging and seeing yourself clearly, not just this week, but for all the challenging experiences in your life. Best wishes on finding the action steps that work for you in acknowledging yourself. And thank you so much for joining me. I'm always so grateful to hear how any of my thoughts, ideas, and experiences resonate with you. Please like and or share these videos with family or friends who would benefit. And I want to mention that I'm in the final stages of writing my book, The Book of Stuck, and I'm going to be announcing really soon a launch party. It would be wonderful to have you join me in celebrating this book. And if you want to know when that's going to happen, go on over to my website, www.tess-miller.com, and subscribe to receive emails from me. That's the best way to know when that book launch is going to happen or any other offerings that I share And if you're ready to embark on some transitions in your life, consider setting up a free coaching session with me. Go to services, click on the Test Your Wings complimentary session, and set up a time on my calendar. You can also find me on Facebook under my business name, Wings Unfolded, or you can find me by name, Tess Miller, on Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Feel free to send me a private message. I'd love to connect with you. And remember that it's okay to be stuck, but we don't have to stay there. Take care and have an awesome week.